introduction to kindergarten registration. You are in a phenomenal district. I'm sure many of you, if you have children in TK, you already know that. But this is truly an outstanding place to raise your children in a school district that's truly the heart of your community. So proud to be here and proud to be welcoming you and your children to the next adventure in their academic and social emotional journey. I'll hand it over to Kate Sprague to introduce herself, and we'll proceed with other introductions later.
Hi, I'm Kate Sprague. I am the Director of Technology and Accountability, and I oversee online registration. So I'm going to walk through that process. So I'm the parent of a current kindergartner, although in another district, and a fourth grader as well.
So one of the things that we like to highlight for you in Mill Valley is really that our goal is to prepare your children for the future, you know, to really create children who contribute to a world that make it a better place. And right now, as parents, you also know that the world has changed a lot, just with the advent of AI, right? Like the schools that we know now, I aren't really prepared for the world of AI, where your children can learn things and have tutoring and do all sorts of other things without even being in a classroom. And of course, that has its advantages and disadvantages. But you know, we're trying to prepare your children with the life skills, the resilience, the emotional intelligence, the academic rigor and relevance that prepare them to leave our system and go into an outstanding high school system. I used to be the associate superintendent in the town district, so I know it well. And you are in just an outstanding place for your children to be educated. So we want to create balanced learners. We want to create happy and joyful children who are prepared to go to the next level of school. At our agenda tonight, we will be introducing you to our principal team. We'll be providing you with a little bit more of an overview of our district, letting you know what kindergarten is about in our district, talking about how school placement is determined in our district, which is unique, and then talking about the kindergarten registration process. And I'll take a moment to introduce our principals. We have Daniel McWard, who is here from Edmund McGuire. We have Lisa Lamar, who's here from Town Valley, Aubrey O'Connor from Park, Jason Matlin, Old Mill, and Kimberly Russell from Strawberry Point. We also, I wanted to note that we have Associate Superintendent in the back of the room, Michelle Rollins, Dr. Michelle Rollins, who has been here making this all possible for us. And also, we have a registrar, Kathy Rosen, who you'll meet in the process, and Sid and Anna, who work in the district office. They're very, I don't know what to say, they do everything. They're here tonight. If you ever want to know anything, call Sid or Anna or Kathy. So we are very, very happy to be supporting you as the district team. Laura Myers was not here tonight. She's our Director of Educational Services, so you may encounter her along the way as well.
This is just a QR code. It has an online form for you to submit questions. If we have time, we'll open them up to some questions, both from the form that our that Sid and Anna will be monitoring throughout the night. And then also, if we're unable to get to your question, you can ask for your email address so we can follow up and get back to you. It's the same QR code that's here. So obviously we're going to move on from this slide. And also, we're going to pass around a sign-in sheet. So if you could please just add your name and your email to that, we'll be sure to email you the presentation after, as well as the link to the website with the registration information, a flyer about registration, and also probably include you as we include other community groups for things like our Portrait of a Grad studies later in the spring, or the LCAP development, which is a state plan that every school develops. So we just want to welcome you to Mill Valley and make sure you're included from now on.
And we'll introduce our principals now. Daniel and Jason, you want to come up and you guys can take our seats and introduce them. They're here to tell you about what's great about the district, because we've let them know that we're not going to compete about our schools. They're all outstanding. They might do a little rivalry, but I don't know. We'll see.
Good evening. Again, I'm Daniel McCord, the principal at Edna. Our principal team of the 5 elementary schools we work extremely well together, very tight. You will not hear us compare one school to the other as far as, you know, we're better here. We just don't do that. If you're fortunate enough to, you know, be living in this school district, I mean, bless you. This, I mean, holy cow, your kids are just in for an incredible experience. TK all the way up through 12. I mean, this is my third school district and, you know, I pinch myself when I walk into classrooms just to see what, you know, is offered here. I'm in my third year at Edna, 8 years before that in Sacramento. And I have 3 adult children, all through the public school system. And I'm just warning you now, parenting adult children is no easier than young ones. I hate to pop any bubbles, but that's the reality of it. So, Edna, love being there. There's 425 to 430 students, TK through 5. We're right up Lomita, just up over here. Horse Hill overlooks us, so our mascot is the Mustangs. I think that's about it. You know, we're 2 or 3 classes per grade level up through, and yeah, good to see you tonight.
All right, good evening. I'm Jason Matlin, principal of Old Mill. And we're a small school of 251 students. We have 2 homeroom classes per grade. And we're located up near Old Mill Park where the public library is. And we are the Raccoons. And I think one of my favorite school traditions is in the fall, we have a lapathon where we close down Throckmorton and run around the school. And it's a super engaged parent group, tight-knit staff, and just a great school.
Since we have an odd number of people, we'll all get an extra chair so everyone can be up together. It's like, no, there may be someone in our group of administrators who doesn't love public speaking.
We're so tight, we can't share.
You can guess which one of us does not like to speak.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Kimberly Russell, and I'm the principal at Strawberry Point Elementary School. I'm also a mum. I have 2 boys who both went through the Mill Valley school system. I have a freshman at Tam High and a 6th grader who is currently here at Mill Valley Middle. And I can wear both hats, a teacher hat and a parent hat. And the boys have had a great experience. And I know that your children will have a great experience of any of the schools in Mill Valley. So I have been in the Mill Valley School District since 2003. And I became the proud principal of Strawberry Point in 2019. We're a small school, but a smaller school. We have 242 students right now. And we are kindergarten through 5th grade. We have 2 classes in every grade, and we are located over the freeway. We are close to the bay. We have a wetlands close by that we utilize as our outdoor classroom. We have a really tight-knit community, and I look forward to welcoming some of you very soon.
Hi, I'm Aubrey O'Connor. I'm the principal at Park School. I'm also a mom of 3, 2 of which actually were in the Mill Valley School District. I started teaching here in 2001. This makes me feel very old. And I've been the principal at Park School. This will be my 5th year. We are the Parkies. Our mascot is a tree, so we're the Parkies. We are located downtown. We're the urban school across from Boyle Park. It's a beautiful, beautiful campus, and we're also very tiny, but we're 280, but I say 287, I think, as of today. We have 2 grades, K through 5, all the way up to classrooms. We have 1 transitional kindergarten classroom, and we also have an early intervention preschool on campus. And we, of course, Parkies are very proud of our school as well. So welcome to Mill Valley.
Hi, I'm Lisa Lamar. I'm the principal at Tam Valley Elementary. And I get to do the last hurrah. One up me. So I have 3 kids also, adult children, and Daniel's correct. I shared this before as if you cry when you drop off your kindergartners, I get it. I still cry when my children come home for a visit and leave, and I cry when they went to kindergarten. I get it. So we are the 2nd biggest school right behind Edna. We have 3 grades of each 3 classes of each grade, except for kindergartners, we have 2, and we will be getting a transitional kindergarten class next year. We are located off Tennessee Valley Road, so we are Chino Valley Tigers. Super fun, and we.
You put us together.
So we just wanted to provide this map next, because each of the houses on here represents one of our district schools. So the far left corner is Old Mill, that green is Park School, the blue in the middle is Mill Valley Middle School, and then up from the blue is Ed McGuire. Across the freeway is Strawberry, so that white line on that right side down is the freeway, and then in the bottom, in the orange is Tamp Valley. We just wanted to show this because our Mill Valley schools are community schools, as you can see from this map. Many of our schools, 3 of our elementary schools in particular, are in very close proximity to each other. So if we were to draw concentric circles about half a mile from each school, Old Mill, Park, and Edna would all overlap in areas there. So when we talk about community schools and placing schools at kids, we are placing kids at schools. We are doing that because we have community schools rather than schools that are really centralized in specific neighborhoods.
And just a quick comment about the middle school. You're seated in our middle school, which by the time your children are in middle school will hopefully be a new middle school campus. It will be located here because this is really the center of our community. So most kids can access this. I think like 69% of our children either ride their bikes and walk or participate in a carpool coming here. So that central location is really a benefit to bringing all of the children from the neighborhoods together in one location. Next slide. What is kindergarten? So we'll jump in a little bit. Kindergarten is it's a journey, right? I think I was one of those parents who I have a literacy background and I have twins and they were gonna read by the time they went to kindergarten, or I wasn't gonna be, you know, a good parent, right? Well, in retrospect, pushing my kids a little bit when they were younger, makes for them to have opportunities to miss some of the milestones that they need. So, you know, we in Mill Valley have high standards for ourselves. We have high standards for each other. And I want to emphasize for those of you who are looking at bringing your children to us in the fall, we are here to educate them. They will be fine with us. Enjoy the moments, the minutes, the childhood that you have right now with them, because it's a journey and there's absolutely nothing you can do that's gonna make it better or worse for your children other than give them love in your time. So please know that we will love and care for your children. If they're reading, it's great. If they're not reading, it's great. If they can write their name, it's great. If they can't write their name, it's great. Let them come to us as they are, because that is what we need to be able to nurture and support. So you are in great hands. We try to have fun. We want to build their independence. We want them to believe in themselves as learners. And we want them to develop at whatever rate they need to develop, because childhood is truly not lockstep, and milestones, certain milestones come in different ways for different kids. Again, those of us who are twin moms know and live that, and so just enjoy them between now and when you drop them off with us on August 22nd. Next slide. Typical day in kinder, we emphasize social emotional learning and having the opportunity for children to have their own voices. We start with morning meetings typically. Then we have a variety of either direct instruction where they're working, you know, in a whole group with the teacher leading, or working in small groups with the teacher leading throughout the day. Choice, like in preschool and TK, choice is still a big part of where we educate children, because learning that self-regulation and ways of guiding your own learning is really essential to becoming the kind of scholar that we look forward to having as they leave our system. And then, of course, there's recess, there's additional learning support or extension for children in our targeted learning. And we have any number of enrichment components: physical education instruction, music instruction, dance instruction, art instruction, library, just amazing enrichment opportunities for your children throughout their day. An example of the weekly specials, those are our enrichment classes, so you'll see that children participate throughout the week in enrichment on a daily basis. Next slide. And you'll see here again, just a little bit more of the difference between where your children are coming in preschool to kindergarten is really learning that whole group setting and, you know, taking direct instruction, listening and retaining from teachers, and also building more independence and doing individual tasks that are suited to the child's individual needs, but also to the kind of scope and sequence of what we're asking children to do in kindergarten, which is learning numbers, building number sense, writing, learning letter sound, you know, combinations, beginning reading kinds of things. Next slide. And here's a little video about what our kids say about school.
Now let's hear from some of our students.
I love kindergarten because
And let's hear from some of our
all the
students.
things you teach us and because I make new friends. Love kindergarten. We do so many fun projects.
It's not gonna work because of the microphone's going to the Zoom.
Hi, I love kindergarten because I get to do fun science projects with Miss Liz and Miss Devin and my friends. One time, the Discovery Museum science truck came to our school, and we got to on different materials. It was really, really fun. Music with Mr. Smith is also one of my favorite classes. We get to sing and play different instruments like xylophone and drums. But my favorite thing to do in kindergarten is playing outside with my new friends. I love kindergarten because my friends and Legos. There's so many Legos. Let's go! I love kindergarten. It's so much fun and I love science. I learned to read and I made new friends. The best thing about kindergarten is that I get to play with my friends and they learn a lot. I love kindergarten because it's really fun and I learn a lot and I never want to leave.
That would be very representative of all of our schools. And I've been in both districts, kind of echoing what Daniel said. Walking into our classrooms is astounding, like the things that children can do and do in our classrooms in our early education program is just beyond what I would even imagine seeing in full classrooms. So you are in an outstanding place with outstanding children who will help your children and become their very best. Their teachers are also outstanding. I'm gonna hand it over to Kate.
Next, we're gonna talk about school placement and then the registration process. So first, regarding school placement, this is based on our board policy and administrative regulation, which is linked on this slide. TK placement is a district-wide program, so we don't have classes at every site. But for K, we do have classrooms at every site. We have 2 K classrooms at every one of our school sites, and our goal is to maintain 2 classrooms at every school site to maintain the viability of each school as they are spread out through our communities. So our priorities for placing students begin with siblings of currently enrolled students. So this is for kindergarten placement. Siblings of currently enrolled students residing in the district are considered residents of the sibling school. So older students who are already enrolled, their incoming K siblings are considered residents of that school, and they will be enrolled in that school if they wish and if there is space. The currently enrolled sibling must be in attendance at the school when the new enrollee enters the school. So that's our first priority. Next is any identified special education and program needs, and those are evaluated by our Director of Special Education, Erin Conklin, and her team, and is on a case-by-case basis. Then facility capacity and class size. So again, we're working to maintain class sizes at each school site and working to maintain equitable class sizes so that the experience is similar at all of our schools. Also, the proximity of residents to the school of choice. As we noted, though, that often can be competing because we do have schools that are close to each other. So that is one component, but it is only one component. And then the balance of class size across the district.
Make a quick comment about the balance of class size. One of the things that coming to Mill Valley was unique to me is that we do really prioritize equal class sizes at all schools. So for example, if there is a classroom where there are 22 students in one class and 23 students in the next class, and maybe the class with the 23 is closer to your home, we will place your child very most likely in the school with the 22, because what we're trying to do in a situation of declining enrollment is make sure all of our classes have 2 classes per grade level going on, so that we will have an efficacious school. We don't want to be in a situation where we end up with like 1.5 grade levels and we have this spiraling combination classes, or maybe there isn't a class for your child at a grade level. So we're really committed to that, and we believe it benefits your children in our community in the long run. And what we find is that people, even if you're kind of a half mile away from where you thought you were going to be, given the chance to come off a wait list, generally people want to stay where they were placed. So again, we do have outstanding schools, and that's a very confusing, like for me coming in, I was like, how do we do this? It's crazy. Let people enroll in their neighborhoods, but when you look at the impact of declining enrollment, it's particularly as you get in the upper grades and you're in a 3rd, 4th combination class or a 4th, 5th combination class, that's not really best instructional practice. So we're trying to maintain the integrity of our entire district by making these decisions that sometimes feel hard in kinder, but are ultimately for the benefit of your children and all the children in the district.
Okay, so next, the specifics of the registration timeline and then the process. So our registration for next year opens on January 16th, 2024. And this registration window will close on February 29th, 2024. Your student as an incoming kindergartner, as long as you live in Mill Valley, you are guaranteed a spot in our schools. If you register on January 16th or January 17th or February 29th, you are in the same bucket of applications. There is no benefit to applying or registering and finishing your registration on the first day compared to the last day of that window. So don't feel like you have to get online right away on the 16th or the 17th or the 18th. You can wait, make sure you have all your paperwork together, and any time in that window is afforded the same preference for school placement. Then by May 1st, we will confirm your school placement. And that means that you'll get an email from us saying your child has been placed at X school. Please confirm your placement. You'll have about a week to confirm that placement at that school. And from there, you'll start receiving communications from the school, an invitation to a K orientation at the school, and a request to complete K parent and preschool surveys. Our teachers ask that those are completed so we can have the best information possible about your students. And then over the summer, you'll be added to the school Parent Square. Parent Square is a platform we use to communicate with families. And then right before school starts on August 19th, that's the Monday before school starts on that Thursday, your teacher or class assignment will be confirmed. If you have a current TK student in the district, you won't go through the full online enrollment process. During that registration window, you'll get an email or it'll be communicated multiple ways for you to fill out a form letting us know what your school preferences are so that we can gather that information. We already have all the information we collect in online enrollment, so we'll just be getting school preferences if you have a current TK student. If you're new to the district, you do need to complete that online enrollment process so that we have all of that registration information and residency verification in order to then place your student in the district. Okay, so now the registration process. Do not be alarmed by the number of steps on this slide. It's more overwhelming than it looks because we tried to give you step by step what that process looks like. We also have these steps online. We have more information about each of them online. We have the documents online, and they're part of the process. So we just wanted to lay it out for you. You'll get the slideshow and you can use it like a checklist. So the first thing that you do is you go to the Mill Valley website and click on that registration quick link, and then you click on kindergarten, because that's what you're enrolling for. You go to the online registration portal and enroll a new student, and you select the school year, so pre-enrollment. So the same registration portal is used for current year registrations and pre-enrollment, so we're just, you're selecting pre-enrollment for the next school year. You review the required documentation, create a new account, or if you have an older child, you use that same account from Aries, and then follow the steps online, which include entering information, completing a couple of surveys, uploading documents, complete the submission, and then you get a confirmation page. So you know you've done it when you get that confirmation page. This is a system that saves information in it, and you have a unique login and password, so you don't have to complete it all in one setting. If you sit down and you start and you realize you don't have your immunization record, you can log out, get that information from your pediatrician, and come back and upload it later. The documentation that's required, there's proof of age, like a birth certificate or a passport. There's the immunization record. There's a declaration of residency form. Then there's verification of residency, which includes a few different documents, a release of information, and a Google Suite consent form for us to create an account for your child when they enroll. It sounds like a lot. It's very similar to other districts in the county. So it's the same portal that other districts use, and it's also the same documentation required as in other places. The surveys that you would be completing are things like the home language survey. So what language your child learns to speak, what language you most often use at home, what they can correspond in, and that is required by the state, and then also a housing survey as well. And then there's just some basic information like your child's birth date, any medical information that might be pertinent, like significant allergies, also contact information like emergency contacts. So all of that's just being entered into an online registration form so that we already have it in our online student information system when you enroll. Okay, so for more information, you can contact Kathy Rosen, who is our registrar. She works at the front desk in our district office, and she's available by email or by phone. We also are linking the whole video, the Strawberry Point K video, if you want to revisit some of those cute kids and see how many teeth they're each missing. And then also you'll be invited after you've accepted placements to attend K orientation in mid-May 2024.
Just a quick suggestion, that little link that's at the beginning might be something worth showing your kids, because I think they worry as much as we do. So
We actually removed the link because we realized we potentially didn't have permission for some of the student.
okay.
So it's not there, sorry.
We'll get,
Yeah,
we get it.
We just we need permission.
And sooner or later, we will also build more robust social media presence for our grade level programs. But for now, you can also learn a lot when you get access to Parent Square. You'll see information coming from our PTA and our kiddo programs, which they're just integral parts of who we are in Mill Valley. So you'll get to see more if you don't already have kids and have them in there already.
And you can visit our website as well. There's a parents section of the website that has some information for new parents. It has that registration information. It has the documents required to submit online. Some of them, like the Declaration of Residency, is something that we would ask you to download and print and complete and then upload back. If that's a problem, you can reach out to the registrar and she can have a paper copy available for you. As part of the online portal, you're asked to upload documents, which can be done just as pictures from your phone. They can be PDFs. You can use an app like Genius Scan to scan something and create your own PDF. And if that is just not working for you, you can upload blank documents, let Kathy know, and just send her by email or drop off the paperwork, and she'll help you make copies so that we make sure we have all the paperwork that we need. After you've submitted it all, part of what we're doing between February 29th and the placement of students is verifying all of your information. So she'll reach out if something isn't, if it's not clear or if she needs more information. Kathy will be the one reaching out to make sure and confirm all the enrollment paperwork.
And then as noted here, the first day of school is Thursday, August 22nd. And the board just approved our calendars for the next 2 years. So if you check out our website, you'll also be able to see when summer vacation is, when winter recess is, and those things for your planning purposes. And again, I want to say that any of us are available to answer any questions you have, I think, we're very much aligned as a district and a community and, just the outstanding teachers, outstanding everything here. So you really can't go wrong. And I think we have about maybe 15 minutes to answer questions if there are any.
We do. Our first question is, my child will be eligible for kindergarten for 2024-25, born August 2019. If she stays in preschool for 24-25, for 25-26, would she be in kindergarten or first grade? Or would either be possible?
Our recommendation is that we stick with the state guidelines for the age of admittance to kindergarten, because that helps us to most appropriately help in all of our classes, that whole range of ages. And our teachers are used to having students in that entire year of birth dates. So we do our best to stick to the state guidelines, which is between September 2nd to September 1st for admittance to kindergarten. In any year.
Okay. How is the curriculum, can't say that word, pedagogy evolving in kindergarten and beyond? Does the school district have language programs like Spanish and Mandarin?
The curriculum is evolving in several ways. One, there has been I'm sure if any of you have seen the podcast Sold the Story, there's been a big renaissance perhaps in the introduction of evidence-based literacy programs to children. So the main push in our district right now is to make sure that all students in elementary school have access to science-based reading and that it's articulated from, in essence, kindergarten through 8th grade. We have currently, and this is one of the things that we'll be starting a portrait of a graduate work right now. We have a 6-hour and 25-minute school day or work day. And so in that right now, we've prioritized art, music, PE, library, dance, garden, and science. We will be doing our portrait of a graduate work and getting feedback from families are really around what their priorities are. We currently don't have an immersion or a language program integrated into our schools. That may be something that if we get sufficient information from parents that they want to see, we may be able to integrate, although right now we have a kind of finite number of minutes in the day to cover all the pieces that we want to cover. And to do language development, to do an immersion correctly, we really need to be able to provide the majority of the instructional day in the language that students are acquiring if it's a second language. So we are not set up necessarily for a dual language immersion program in our district. But again, if that became something that we heard a ton of families wanted when we did our portrait of a graduate work, that would be something we would have to look at seriously. But as always, you can do anything, you just can't do everything. So there would be gives and gets in terms of what's possible.
Can we tour both TK and kindergarten rooms, teachers, schools?
We have TK and kinder orientation evenings in May. We do not hold classroom tours just because the disruptiveness for the current students and staff, but we're trying to educate them. We want to keep them focused on their learning. And at some point, we will be having some more vignettes or videos that kind of show a full day in TK or a full day in kinder, but that's the purpose of the video that we'll be releasing is so you and your children can get a little picture of what it's like inside our classrooms.
And the orientation is for enrolled students. So it's for students who have registered and have received placement at a school. And then you're invited to an orientation at that school with those teachers at the school.
It sounds like siblings can be placed at the same school. What about cousins?
I would say probably no guarantee on cousins. Siblings are, again, we're really trying to balance and make sure we have 2 classes with equal numbers at every grade level across the system. So,
and also doing our best to stay in alignment with that board policy and administrative regulations so that it can be as equitable as possible, which means that siblings are the definition of a resident school for that new sibling coming to the school.
Is school preference part of the registration process or is that separate?
It is part of the registration process. So one of the questions that you'll be asked online is to give your first school choice and your second school preference.
That's all we've got.
It's all the questions that we have online. If you guys would like to submit a question, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to do so.
You could raise your hand and we'll do our best to relay the question also, if that's easier.
Are there any aftercare programs?
So the question is, are there any aftercare programs? And all of our sites do have aftercare programs provided by some different organizations. That is also on our website. So you can check there, I think it says childcare options, and it has by each school what the aftercare options are.
I have a follow-up question on that. Do you need to register early for those? Like, I mean, is there a chance that, let's say, you aren't sure you're gonna come to our schools and you're gonna register your child to hold a spot, but you are gonna wait to decide on childcare until you are sure you're coming? Do you lose your spot, or is there generally enough space for every kid at a school that needs it?
So because the answer was, it is site specific, and a lot of that has to do with facility size and also staffing for whichever organization is providing that aftercare. Based on the space that they're allocated and their staffing, they have state requirements for how many students they can allow into a program, and that would impact the number of aftercare spots that are available in any site.
So it would be advisable to secure that spot as soon as possible. Okay, which of course is difficult if you don't know what school you're going to.
And there are other, for example, there's a Taekwondo facility at one of the buildings near the Ed McGuire campus. They have an aftercare program that does some van transportation from other schools. There are other programs outside of the district that will also pick students up. So there are a variety of different options. And so you can read more about those on the website.
There's a question over here.
That kind of answered the question, but I noticed some of the aftercare programs in the 320. So instead of 5,
So the question was, I think, if some of the
aftercare program, I've noticed, because I thought they were 5:30, or there's some, like, I've heard maybe Edna has some 5:30 aftercare program.
that would be determined by the specific program running that aftercare program. And I don't think, I can't speak to the individual programs, but I believe there are later pickups at most sites than 320. Or later availabilities.
The community center ones, I think, are the ones that end a little bit shorter.
And those tend to be just.
Like a community center class.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so the Mill Valley Parks and Rec offers classes at some of our school sites, and that's usually changing really term to term of the school year. Those you pay for and enroll for separately. Those are typically one day a week at the site for something like cooking or guitar. I think I had a keyboard class in my classroom when I was a teacher at Edna, and those are not part of the aftercare program. They certainly can be used as aftercare, but it's really just an after-school class, an enrichment class. There would be, yeah, and those should be under that childcare options, but feel free to reach out to Kathy or send an email to us and we'll figure it out and get you the right information.
How exactly does the parent choice work? Are you offered a spot at only one school or the 2 schools if it was possible?
So the question is, how exactly does the parent choice work? Are you offered a spot at one school or both schools potentially? You are offered a spot at one school and you are asked to accept or not accept that spot at that school.
If the school offers TK and the child's already in TK, they start on the same footing as far as which kindergarten school they go to as somebody who didn't go to TK and just started.
So the question is, if the student is currently in TK and is already at one of our schools in a TK program, is that student during registration for kindergarten on the same footing? And the answer is yes, because we don't currently offer TK to all students due to the age guidelines directed by the state. All students who are in our TK program are going to be given that choice to give their choices, and then they are all going to be part of the same K placement in one group of placements.
I do want to call it, I think that for parents whose children have been in a TK, that is it feels very disruptive, right? You're like, I'm leaving my community, I know these parents, I know this school. And, you know, first of all, we recognize it, I recognize it as a mom, and I know that it's challenging and frustrating to be in that situation. And we've seen that when children do make that transition to their other school, they do fine. And so, you know, it's sometimes you may say, okay, well, I want to be, you know, I'm at TK at X school. I know I have to go to kinder at Y school, but please leave me on the wait list for any kindergarten openings at X school. And by the time you come back and say, well, you know, it's September 15th and there's room for your child now, do you want to go? Generally, your kids are so assimilated and happy, you know, at their new school that people don't choose to come back. So just know that it's harder for us as grownups than it is for our children who are very resilient and who, you know, think any kindergarten or TK teacher they see is like the second best thing to their parents and they love them no matter what.
I think my
So
son likes his teacher more than me.
I'm pretty sure.
We have,
There's not my question.
Mhm.
Is the plan to have only 2 kindergarten classes at Tam Valley moving forward, regardless of how many families rank it first preference?
I think that's an interesting question. I think what we're trying to do is make sure that all of our elementary schools have 2 kindergartens filled. And then looking at where the other choices are again, because if we are to have this district with declining enrollment and we continue to lose children over the courses of the grades, we wouldn't be able to maintain a full school. So, and we don't want your children to end up getting displaced in 4th grade or, you know, have these combination classes, which are just not in their best interest. And you'll notice that some districts locally have addressed that declining enrollment by putting like a K2 school and a 3-5 school, because that's where you can sort of, you know, co-locate and build, you know, opportunities for collaboration and distribution of children, but that is not something we're currently considering doing as a district because we really like the identity of these community schools where your child may be a half-mile away from your home, but you're in this community that truly embraces your family and your child. And so I think that's what we prioritize here.
What percentage of families were placed in their first choice for kindergarten this past year?
I've been asking this question too.
I don't have to decide.
I think we figured out all the one child potentially, but I don't remember. I don't have that data.
Okay, we'll follow up.
Mentioned the declining enrollment and all that, which I actually wasn't that aware of, so I'm just curious, like, what does that look like? Is it dramatic?
Well, so for example, our last year's graduating 8th grade class was 288 students. The year before that, it was 301. So that's 13 students, which is about a whole half a class difference. If you're thinking about a 24 student standard K class, which is not necessarily standard in our district. Our numbers do fluctuate, but that's part of it. So our incoming classes have been less than 240 students. So that's a 48 student difference, which is really 2 full classes different than the numbers of students that were graduating. And that's actually 288 and 301 were the back end of the last enrollment bubble that we had. So prior to those years, we had classes bigger than 300. So it is a big difference, and enrollment waxes and wanes, as many things do. So we're a public school, we will always accept students who are enrolled and who are verified to live in our district and are age appropriate for those grades. And we also have to deal with, what does that mean in order to keep our schools functional, productive environments.
That trend is happening California-wide, but what's interesting about Mill Valley is, as Kate said, is there are these waxes and wanes, and because families often move to Mill Valley from somewhere else after they've had their children, and they choose to, okay, we're gonna leave the city, we wanna raise our kids in the suburbs, and they move to Mill Valley. We can't use the birth census data necessarily to help us predict, and then we have any number of children who may also, their families may elect to go to private schools, and so we have a certain number of students who sign up with us to start the year, but we aren't ever sure until we get to that sort of first day of school who's going to actually matriculate. So, it's new to me. Cause I'm used to like being able to grab a birth census and project how many kids are coming, and, again, it is an adjustment, when you think about your child maybe having to be at a school that's 1.5 miles from your home when you may live a quarter of a mile from one of the schools, and I think, I start, Kate's like, she knows all this data now today, like, struggling all year long with this. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is create balanced schools so that your children, once they are matriculated as part of the community, get to be part of that community until they come and join all the kids in the community in middle school, which is, it's really phenomenal. This middle school is a great place for kids too, so, and it's small.
It's almost more noticeable in Mill Valley when the schools are close together, and geographically, we are literally in kind of this canyon, this valley, as opposed to some other districts, like even in San Rafael, you may not get into your neighborhood school depending on how many siblings there are, or if you move in later in the year, because all of us are doing our best to balance especially once the classes are set. So it feels like a Mill Valley specific problem or challenge, and some of the things related to it may be, but it is something that school districts encounter across our county and in other places as well.
Will it be an issue during registration that my child won't receive their 5-year booster immunization until their physical exam scheduled for after March 1st, 2024?
It will not be an issue. We follow up with those immunizations as students turn 5, and you just have to have those immunizations in place for the first day of school. And our nursing team, which Erin Conklin, the Director of Special Education, also heads that health team. And there's information on the website about that as well, but they follow up with individual families as needed to make sure that all that information is collected as needed.
That's it.
Again, thank you all. I know for those of you who have your first kids going in, it's terrifying. And even us professionals, we find it hard when our own children enter school, but just know that you're in a great place, and any of us are just a phone call away. You will quickly find your community of families, and if you haven't already found them, but know that we're also here, and you truly have outstanding schools and outstanding educators who will be taking care of your children during this journey. So welcome, and again, don't ever hesitate to reach out, ask questions. We have all been there, and some of us are still there.
Also, just for your information, the slide deck is available on the front page of the website. Our website address is mvschools.org. It's right there, right on the front page. You can also submit via the QR code if you think of something later on, you wanted to ask, and we'll monitor and get those questions back to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you for being scaffolding.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Read it for me.